We're going to start with Antonio Brown. You are for those who don't know, Stephen, a Steeler fan through and through. I haven't seen you since the deal got done. What's your reaction?
Disgusted. Very, very disgusted. I'm not happy about it at all. If you're the Raiders, you did a good job, and I'll be talking about that on First Take. But if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, let's be very, very clear. There's a distinct difference between what Kevin Colbert, based on his reputation, his experience, his resume, and what he's going to do with this 3rd and 5th round pick than he acquired from Antonio Brown. That is a different story compared to what level of compensation did you get for arguably the greatest receiver in football? And when we look at it, we can't just look at it in terms of Antonio Brown. We have to look at it from the perspective. Le'Veon Bell, arguably the best running back in football, you'll essentially get a 3rd round compensatory pick for him. Antonio Brown, you'll get a 3rd and a 5th round pick. If I sat here and I said to Greeny, if I said to Coach Woodson, a basketball coach, and of course this football analyst, Bart Scott, if I sat up there and I said to you, for arguably the best running back in football and the best wide receiver in football, all you're getting is a 5th round pick, a 3rd round pick, and a compensatory 3rd round pick for 2 of the elite players in the game of football. How in the hell is that a good job? That is not a good job. The fact of the matter is that this entire situation has been mishandled. Antonio Brown comes out a huge, huge winner because as a player, you don't pull off what he was able to pull off in compare. And also, let's give Drew Rosenhaus mad love and credit because clearly he was behind all of this. And I'll take this a step further. We actually have to take a moment to contemplate, was Antonio Brown really telling the truth about Big Ben Roethlisberger and Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers organization? Was he really sincere when he was offended by Kevin Colbert? Or did he go out of his way to make it look that way for the purposes of getting pushed out of Pittsburgh? And oh, by the way, was Big Ben Roethlisberger in on it? Because as a player, you might be like this. Yo, get your money, dog. We gonna sit there, talk about me any way you want to. We'll settle all of this once the dust settles. But for right now, I'm gonna go with that because I know you're trying to get your money, which is what this was all about.
I think Ben probably gave the organization an ultimatum. It's either him or me. Because all of a sudden, Ben is revigorated, right? All of a sudden, he's like, I want an extension. This is the same man that's been saying, I want to retire, been not, hitting that retirement for the last 2 years. So did the relationship become so toxic that it was like, you know what? Let's just get him out of the building because if you got to side with the receiver or the quarterback's going to win every time.
Stephen A., I would add, not only did they wind up getting 2/3 and a 5th for those 2 stars, they also wound up with $21 million in dead money. So it could not have worked that worse.
$21.1 million, but then when you take into account Juju Smith-Schuster and who else they have on their squad at the wide receiver position, you're talking about an excess of $24 million. So if you look at those 2 or 3 players, it equates to $24 million. Doesn't look quite.
They have them cheap. But so at the end of the day, what are the Steelers going into next season? Until we see what winds up happening with the draft and everything else, are they still the team to beat in the division they have basically controlled?
They're definitely not the team to beat. First of all, the Baltimore Ravens would be there. The Cleveland Browns are on the come up. And we can't ignore the fact that right now, listen, I love Mike Tomlin. And last year wasn't his greatest year, but his resume speaks for itself. I don't think it's fair at all, the level of criticism that he's gotten overall. But I do think he goes into this next season because of the dysfunction that raked through that franchise last season, somewhat on the hot seat.
Bart, who's the team to beat in that division?
Right now, it has to be the Cleveland Browns because you talk about a team with a tremendous amount of salary cap space that can attract free agents. I think everybody understands that Baker Mayfield is the truth. They'll create some more salary cap space. I think that'd be the number 2 hottest destination in free agency.